Once again, it's Friday, but this one's really special. This is probably the biggest one yet. This would have been a crazy week on its own just from the guitar show that we just did in Arlington, Texas. But then a bunch of other stuff came in and made this just a massive haul. This isn't even all of it. We're gonna go through all these today and check out a bunch of new guitars. We'll start here. This is a 1986 Fender AVRI Strat in Lake Placid Blue. Beautiful checking all over this one. Super, super cool. Sounds great too. We also picked this one up at the guitar show. Then this is one of my favorites. Beautiful 2007 Gibson Les Paul. A nice honeyburst. And this one's chambered, which is really great. It's got a great weight to it, and everything about this is just what I personally look for in a Les Paul. Definitely thinner neck profile if that's what you're into, which for me is great. If not though, there's some other Les Pauls we just got in that have a lot thicker necks than this. So. Martin D41, absolutely gorgeous acoustic guitar. Super, super cool. Perfectly in tune. Very excited to hear what it sounds like actually set up. A 1968 Gibson B4512. And this thing is another one of my favorite pickups from the guitar show. Really neat. Headstock break here, but it was repaired well, so, you know, if you're looking for a player, this might fit the bill. Gibson Les Paul double cut. Absolute classic. This is one of the ones that the Rick Beato signature was modeled after. This is one from that original run in early 2000s. This one specifically is 2008, so this would be a later one. But yeah, these are really cool. Obviously, Rick's was the yellow one that had that kind of finish, but this was made at the same time and part of the same line. And these are just really, really fun guitars. Been fortunate enough to have a few over the years, and they're always really special. And they also remind me of the SGs they made at the same time, because my first like proper decent guitar was a 2006 Gibson SG Special in the faded cherry finish, and I really enjoyed that. These always make me a little nostalgic for that. Here we have Ibanez, obviously Les Paul custom clone. I believe this one is mid to late 70s. It has replacement pickups. I'm excited to see what those are, and I actually haven't had a chance to plug this in yet, so I am excited to plug it in and see what it sounds like and see how it plays. This one's another highlight for me. This is a 2005 Gibson R8 1958 reissue Les Paul custom shop in a really cool like kind of plain burst, and this thing is great. It's got a really thick neck on it, which for me is not usually my favorite, but this is just, the way it's done makes it amazing. I would happily play this, even though the neck might not be exactly what I look for. It makes up for it in so many other ways. And if you are somebody that likes a big, thick baseball bat neck, then I'm sure you're already aware these 58s are really, really great. Another acoustic here. It's an Epiphone case, but it is not an Epiphone acoustic. Really cool Takamine. Obviously needs some cleanup and some strings. But this thing will be a lot of fun. The older Takamine made in Japan stuff is, I think, great value for the money right now, because it's not cheap by any means, but it's still pretty accessible and very on par with a lot of other stuff that's a lot more expensive. So if you can get into one of these for a good price, it's definitely worth it. And they do all kinds of different stuff, so whatever style acoustic you prefer, if you can find Takamine's variant on it, I think those are worth checking out. And we have a Gibson Les Paul Standard Premium Plus. Beautiful transparent amber kind of finish here. Really cool. This has a DiMarzio PAF pickups in it, but otherwise it is original. But again, really lightweight Les Paul and a lot of fun. This one's more of like a kind of a 59 kind of profile, so in between two of the other Les Pauls we've looked at. It's one of those, just everything is kind of just right on it. Great weight, great neck feel, pickups sound great, really nice cut of rosewood on the board. Gets my full seal of approval. This one still needs to be properly set up and everything, but here we have a Greco Les Paul custom clone. This is commonly referred to as like the Ace Frehley one. Triple pickup. Again, Haven't had a chance to get strings on it yet, but original case. Wait, you see that paperwork? Like, this is a good one. And I can't wait to see what this is like properly set up. This is one I did not find at the guitar show. This is a Fender blacktop baritone Telecaster. You know, we're kind of infamous for having these. I have not had one in actually a while. This one's cool. It's got some very tasteful mods. Probably do a demo video on this at some point. Also got some Lockwood tuners. Very good utilitarian baritone guitar, and also very hard to find. Here we have a vintage Guild bass, which is really, really great. I don't remember the model off the top of my head, but a lot of fun. Plays really well. I think this is late 70s, I want to say. Once this one gets listed, we'll have all the proper info, but this is a cool one. All right. Here we have a 1979 Fender Stratocaster, candy apple red, maple board. Can't go wrong. Obviously there's been some modifications to it, so I'm very excited to take this one apart on the bench and see what's going on and get playing and see what we're working with. But I have a feeling this is going to be a really fun Strat. I personally like the late 70s ones. I know some people kind of don't love them, but for me, I know the necks get a little narrow up here, but I like that. I think it's fun. Like many of these, very excited to actually dig in, get them on the bench, and get them playing the absolute best. This last one in a hard case, and then we'll get into all the stuff in the gig bags behind us. Very minty ESP E2, super rad finish. It's got the EMG pickups, if that's your thing. Really, really clean. I believe this is a 2014, made in Japan, of course. This is one of the higher end ones they're putting out right now, so very cool piece. Got a Moserite. Very, very cool. Once again, excited to, this one's already playing pretty good, but excited to really get on the bench with this one and see what we're working with. These are really, really fun and very unique guitars. If it's something you're not familiar with, they're definitely worth doing some research on. A lot of fun. Ibanez Tallman TC420 in this gorgeous like gold flake finish. Very, very cool. This is the first one of these I've ever come across, so as soon as I saw it, I knew we had to have it. Thomas, who's filming, is gonna have to help me with this, but this is a guitar. Who is this for?
It's a K-On original instrument. It's a Azusa Nakano, modeled after a Fender Mustang.
Yes.
This is the K-On official. There's a few that were out for some of the other characters from the anime. They're kind of neat because they're just not that common. Over here in the States, at least.
Yeah, I've never seen one of these, but also not exactly too well versed on anime. Not surprised that I have not, even if I'd come across one, I may have totally like glossed over and not even noticed it's something special. But yeah, this one's fun. Glad we have Thomas here to fill in the gaps on that. 1985 Fender Japan Strat. This is really, really cool. A lot of honest wear on it. And this is a great time for a Japanese production of Fender. Really, we talk about it all the time. Across the board, Fender Japan just is insane and does really good stuff. But this is kind of from that original era, and it's what a lot of people are kind of searching for. And it's cool because it blends some kind of vintage specs and some modern specs. It is a proper vintage instrument in 1985, but you still get stuff like a 22 fret neck, and these are always really cool. I definitely see why they're as sought after as they are now. Maybe this is not something that's as sought after. Schecter Hellraiser. It's one of the kind of, I believe this is one of the older ones. Obviously not vintage old, but early 2000s probably. No, it's 2018, just kidding. To pair perfectly with that, another Schecter. This is a Hellraiser special, but this one has a Floyd Rose. And this, for me, is a lot of fun because when I was like 14, I really wanted a Schecter with the EMGs and the Floyd Rose and all that. So I bought myself one of these, and I still have it at home. And I had a lot of fun with that guitar for a very long time. Not exactly something I'd be reaching for now, but this is literally the exact same model. This is a 2010. I think mine was like a 2011, so this is like, it's right there. It's very, very similar. This is one of those, if you know, you know. This is a Squier Avril Lavigne signature Telecaster. Very rare guitar, very hard to find. And from a collector's standpoint, these are also quite sought after. From a player standpoint, not so much. This actually plays really great. There's nothing wrong with these as far as playability or anything, but you know, they are what they are. It's a mid-tier Squire, but kind of the provenance comes from the rarity of it being the Avril Lavigne signature, and you know, if you're looking for that, then we got it. I know what this is. This is Fender Japan Hybrid 2 Jazzmaster. Really, really cool. Just awesome Jazzmaster across the board. We've been fortunate enough to have a couple of these come through now, and they're always really special. Always top choice across the board. This one is a 2019, so one of the newer ones. For those who don't know, Fender Japan still makes stuff for the Japan market. They make stuff for the US as well, but it's in very limited quantities. But over in Japan, the way that we have our American Professional, they have a Japanese hybrid series where it kind of takes the best stuff of vintage and modern and American and USA parts and has just their own domestic line of Jazzmasters and Tellys and Strats, and always really great. And I know over there they're very similarly priced to the American stuff. So it's not like, I know sometimes Japan would be more of a budget one back in the 90s or 2000s here, but the current runs that they're making are not that at all. They're right up there with the American stuff. Nothing crazy here. Epiphone Les Paul Standard Pro. Great guitar if you're on a budget. This is going to be another more budget-friendly option. This is a PRS SE EG, which is actually really uncommon, and this is the first one of these that I'd ever come across. But way before they're doing the Silver Sky or anything, they did this to kind of do the Strat thing. In particular, this is obviously an HSS, but it still has the set neck design and all that. But kind of a cool blend between Fender and PRS spec and all kinds of cool features. This is an interesting piece. This is a Squire John 5 signature Telecaster that's had a lot of modifications, most notably being the Kaler that was added. And what's weird is they added the Kaler, but they didn't put any sort of locking nut up here. So I guess it worked for the previous owner. Whoever ends up with this, obviously it's up to you what you want to do with it. If I was keeping this, I would install a locking nut. But anytime we get stuff in, I don't like to mod things that involve drilling or irreversible mods, which doing that would be that. So, well, I would, of course, install a locking nut. That's up to whoever has this next. I don't want to take away the option to not have that. But yeah, this thing is just the finishes. It's wild. It sounds great too. I don't think these are the original pickups. We will obviously find all that out when we do the listing for this one. Next, we have my least favorite guitar of the haul. But nonetheless, something that people are searching for. A BC Rich Mockingbird. These are not my thing, but they're some people's thing. And they're weirdly rare now. I never thought that the day would come that these were in demand and hard to find, but that has somehow become the case. So got this in, got it with some other stuff. Obviously this isn't something I would have handpicked, but you know, some people are after these, and yeah, well, that's actually in really nice shape. Original bag too.
I used to want one.
Did you?
That had a 4 goes, I think. Like a flame maple top. Something like that. There's also an ESP that had a 4 goes.
That would be
Wanted that one as well.
But I understand. That this Aria Pro 2 ZZ Standard, a lot of wear on this thing, but it is actually a surprisingly great player. Sounds really good too. I mean, this thing, it's just asking to be taken out and played even more, and yeah. It's cool. Made in Japan sometime in the 80s. I think I figured out 85, I want to say, for this one. But yeah, cool vintage Japan piece. Another PRS SE. This one is a much more common one. This is a PRS Custom 22. Really cool top, cool color. Plays really great. This is a ton of guitar for the money. I always recommend these when people are looking for stuff in this price range because they're pretty unbeatable. We'll do these last two together since they are a matching set. Fender Player Telecaster and Fender Player Stratocaster HSS in this kind of really gorgeous blue flame burst which is hopefully it shows on camera as well as it does in person, but really, really cool. I don't think this is a very common color. I want to say these were exclusive to like Guitar Center or Sam Ash or something like that. Could be wrong there, so don't quote me on that, but I feel like I remember these being an exclusive finish, but very cool to have a matching set of both. We just went through a ton of guitars. The craziest part is that wasn't even everything that's come in the last week, so it just highlighted some of my favorite stuff. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more of this stuff, definitely comment and like and subscribe and all the YouTube stuff that everyone else asks you to do. It really does help out. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next week in another one of these. Bye.